May 14, 2018. Please stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilor Fowle. Yes, you may.
Mr. President, on behalf of you and me, who worked with her for many years, and Councilor Cruz, she lived in Ward 1, Councilor Sullivan, I'd like a moment of silence for Denise O'Malley, a longtime community activist, longtime member of the faculty in the Brockton Public Schools, who passed away recently, and she certainly will be missed. She was a very vibrant, animated person who contributed a lot to the community.
Thank you. Take a moment of silence for Denise. And may she rest in peace, and God bless her. If she was here, she probably would have already scolded me because it was O'Malley. The other item I just want to remind councilors, if you will, cell phones. I'd ask that you have cell phones either off or on vibration. Keep the noise level down. And as you know, some years ago we had an ordinance on cell phones, and I will publicly make mention to you that some people had mentioned last week that some of us as councilors were on our cell phones as people were speaking, as our guests were speaking. So we have an ordinance in place, and I do want us to follow that particular ordinance. If there's an emergency, naturally, you have every right to, to leave the meeting hall and take the call and do what you have to do. But just want to bring that to your attention. With that being said, Mr. Clerk, I'm ready.
Acceptance of the minutes of the April 23rd, 2018 City Council meeting.
Accepted and placed on file.
Appointment of Elias Portis of 92 Marjorie Road, Brockton, to the Parking Authority for a term of 3 years.
Refer to Finance.
Appointment of Phyllis Ellis of 273 West Chestnut Street, Brockton, the Brockton Library Board of Trustees for a term of 3 years.
Refer to Finance.
Appointment of Lisa O'Donnell of 30 Rock Meadow Drive, Brockton, to the Brockton Library Board of Trustees for a period of 3 years.
Refer to Finance.
We have the report of the Audits Committee for its meeting of May 7, 2018.
Accepted and placed on
Report
file.
of the Finance Committee for its meeting of May 7, 2018.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have a communication from Smolak and Vaughan attorneys-in-law following up on the meetings of April 9, 2018, license hearing for the 1205 Belmont Street and 820 Pearl Street, applicants Cumberland Farm, Inc. and Evans Realty Trust.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Chief of Police Department requesting authorization to expend grant monies related to the past through fiscal 16 community-oriented police and services anti-heroin task force grant funds in the amount of $25,231.32 from the Commonwealth of Mass Attorney General's office.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on
I
file.
have a communication from the Chief of Police requesting authorization to expend grant monies related to fiscal 2017 U.S. Department of Justice Bulletproof Vest Program grant in the amount of $19,034.62.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have a communication from the mayor in accordance with Mass General laws recommending the City Council adopt the fiscal 2019 budget for the city and the amounts and form as recommended, appropriations of the total amounts of $409,734,267. He will provide his detailed comments on the recommended budget at budget hearings.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Director of Personnel requested that the City Council authorize a transfer of the appropriation in the amount of $800,000 from Personnel Employees Benefit Administration, $500,000, to school net spending, and $300,000 to the Stabilization Fund.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the Mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on
I have a
file.
communication from the City Treasurer Collector requesting that the City Council authorizes a transfer of $200,000 from Treasurer's Debt Interest Short-Term Notes to Treasurer's Medicare Tax. This transfer is necessary to cover the expended shortfalls due to contract settlements and overtime throughout the remainder of the fiscal year.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor recommending the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
We have a communication from the city planner requesting that the city council authorize the acceptance and expenditures of the total grant in the amount of $381,350.64 from the Commonwealth of Mass Department of Transportation, MassDOT Matt Street Grant to City of Brockton Planning Department, MassDOT Main Street Grant Fund. The city will have to provide $95,339 match in Chapter 90 funds.
Accepted and placed on file.
Communication from the mayor recommending the
Accepted
same.
and placed on file.
Communication from the CFO relative to the same.
Accepted and placed on file.
An ordinance amending Article 2, Section 23-30 of the revised ordinances of the City of Brockton. Section 23-30 of the revised ordinances are hereby repealed and replaced relative to establishing a water commission. Favorable as amended in City Council, February 12, 2018. Read and referred to Standing Committee on Ordinance. That report was favorable as amended.
The questions on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment? All opposed? The amendment passes. The question now is on a passage to a third reading. Council Fowl.
Yes, just for the benefit of my colleagues who are not on ordinance and for the record for the council meeting, this is an ordinance which will place the DPW Water Division under the Commissioner. Currently, he is in charge of the Water Division, he's in charge of the DPW office, he's in charge of the Highway Division, but under the current Water Commission ordinance, all of his personnel, all of his equipment, and the day-to-day work could theoretically be decided by a 5-member volunteer-appointed commission. In addition, under the current ordinance, that commission would be allowed to approve up to a million gallons in water per day for a project which is extremely excessive, and this will set a 100,000 gallon per day limit which the DPW Commissioner could approve to take care of economic development in the city. However, anything above 100,000 gallons per day would come back to the council. Other than that, the commission stays intact. They can do any types of research and provide the commissioner or the water systems manager with recommendations, but this really is to consolidate and make organizationally and operationally efficient the DPW Water Division by placing it under one boss, and that's the DPW Commissioner, as it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Again, the question's on a passage to a third reading. All in favor? Opposed? Goes to a third reading.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the revised ordinances, Chapter Section 11-211 of the revised ordinances, as most recently amended, is further amended, and is favorably as amended in City Council, February 12, 2018. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Ordinances. That report was favorable as amended.
The question's on the amendment. All in favor? Opposed? Amendment passes. The question now is on a passage to a third reading. All in favor? Opposed? Goes to a third reading.
Ordered that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the City of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Gerald Avenue, extending from East Ashland Street southerly, a distance of about 1,031.32 feet, and for that purpose, it is necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay it out as a public street all way. In Council, February 26, 2018. Read and refer to Standing Committee on Finance and Planning. The recommendation is favorable.
Questions on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Asek? Yes. Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Yes. Darrencourt? Yes. Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. DeCastro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes. Sullivan? Yes. 11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Ordered that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the City of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Cornell Avenue, extending from Court Street northerly to East Ashland Street, a distance of about 1,383 feet. And for that purpose, it's necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay it as a public street or way. In Council, February 26, 2018. Read and referred to the Standing Committee on Finance and Planning. Those reports were favorable.
Questions on adoption by roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Asek? Yes. Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Yes. Darrencourt? Yes. Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. DeCastro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes.
The order is adopted.
Order that the common necessity and convenience of the inhabitants of the city of Brockton require the laying out and acceptance of Leland Street, extending from Gerald Avenue easterly to North Quincy Street, a distance of about 245.09 feet, and for that purpose, it is necessary to take an easement for highway purposes and lay out as a public street or way. End council, February 26, 2018. Read and refer to the Standing Committee on Finance and Planning. Those reports were favorable.
The questions on adoption by a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Azak? Yes. Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Darenport? Yes. Ianary?
Yes.
Farwell? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. Nacastro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes. Sullivan? Yes. 11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
An order is to increase access to voters' registration in the city of Brockton.
Refer to the Committee on Ordinance.
An order is amending Chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of the city of Brockton. Be it ordained as follows. Chapter 2, Administration, is hereby amended by adjusting Section 2-135 to reflect the amounts negotiated by the administration and collective bargaining agreements.
Refer to the Committee on Ordinance,
Order the annual budget of fiscal 19.
Refer to the Committee on Finance.
Order that pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditures of the total grant awards in the amount of $381,350.64 from the Commonwealth of Mass Department of Transportation, the City of Brockton Planning Department, Mass Scott Main Street Grant Fund.
Refer to the Committee on Finance.
Appropriation of the total grant award in the amount of $25,231.32 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, Detective Division, 2016 Community Policing Services Anti-Heroin Task Force Grant Award to the City of Brockton Police Department, 2016 Community Policing Services Anti-Heroin Task Force Program Award Grant Fund.
Refer to the Committee on Finance.
Appropriation from Personnel Employment Benefit Administration to School Dawn Net School Spending Stabilization Fund of $800,000, $500,000 personnel, and $300,000 stabilization fund.
To the Committee on Finance.
Transfer of $200,000 from the Treasurer's debt interest short-term notes to Treasurer's Medicare tax in order to cover the expected shortfall due to the contract settlements and overtime through the remainder of the fiscal year.
Refer to the Committee on
An
Finance.
appropriation of the total grant award in the amount of $19,034.62 from the U.S. Department of Justice Fiscal 17 Bulletproof Vest Program Grant to City of Brockton Police Department Fiscal 17 Bulletproof Vest Program Grant Fund.
Committee on Finance, Council Fowle.
I'd like to move this under suspension of the rules so that that money can be expended and those items can be purchased.
Motion's been made and seconded that we take an act on this under suspension of the rules. All in favor of that? Opposed? We will act on it under the suspension of the rules, and at this point, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Azak? Yes. Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Yes. Darenport? Yes. Ianary?
Yes.
Farwell? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. Nacastro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes. Sullivan? Yes. 11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Resolved that the city solicitor be invited to appear before a committee of the city council to provide information on this code enforcement program.
Refer to the Committee on Finance.
Resolved that Ms. Martha Verde of Acquire Water LLC and Mr. Ramon J. Diaz, listed as general manager of Aquaria Water Plant in Dayton, Mass., on the 2016 public filings with the Mass Department of Public Utilities, be invited to appear before a committee of the City Council to provide information relating to the current water system agreement.
This will refer to the Committee on Finance, and I know Council Fowle, I believe you filed this. I don't know how soon you were looking for it. If you're looking for it next week, I hate to use poor language, that ain't gonna happen.
Mr. President, I may be dreaming anyway, so this can probably be in July.
Okay, so, Councilor Sullivan.
I'd like to request, because we went through this saga before, I'd like to request that it be a green card certified mail return receipt requested.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I'll follow through. It'll be the same process because I was council president when we were doing it
That's
that
right.
year. So,
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, I will put it forth for that meeting in July, okay? Because I know it'll take some
That's
time. Okay, thank you.
Resolved to invite several members of the local clergy including Dr. Mark T. Oliver and Pastor Richard Reed, to come before the committee of this council to discuss their concerns with the sale of recreational cannabis in the city of Brockton.
Refer to the Committee on Finance.
We have executive sessions regarding complaints received May 2nd, 2018.
And we'll be doing that just after we do some late files.
Okay.
We need late files first.
Okay.
Mr. President, I do have a late file in the hands of the clerk.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the late file and act on it under suspension of the rules this evening.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the late file. All in favor of that? Opposed? We're going to act on it, after it's read, we'll act on it.
After
under
he's read,
suspension.
I'll discuss
Okay.
what it is.
Yes.
Order that the city clerk of the city of Brockton cause to be recorded at the Plymouth County Register of Deeds a release whereby the layout of a portion of Sewell Street adjacent westerly to lots 3 and 4, as shown on Land Court Plan 25861B, and adjacent easterly to the easterly line of Sewell Street, which is 42 feet easterly from and parallel to the westerly line of Sewell Street, as more particularly described herein, be and is abandoned immediately forthwith, with pursuant to an order in City Council November 13, 1990, and approved by Mayor Carl DiPataro on November 16, 1990, which provided that a duly attached copy hereof be filed in Plymouth County Register of Deeds by the city clerk forthwith upon the adoption of the order herein, which has not yet been recorded in accordance with the November 13, 1990 order.
Councilor Cruz.
Just a brief explanation. Obviously, this was something that the city council and the mayor did back in 1990. The city clerk at the time, not our illustrious city clerk, failed to get it registered at the Registry of Deeds. All we're doing is instructing the clerk to basically instruct the city engineer to register this at the Registry of Deeds. So I appreciate your help in passing this tonight. It's really just a bookkeeping issue.
Thank you, Councilor. So the motion is to act upon this under the suspension of the rules. All in favor of that? Opposed? Okay, we will do that. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Asak? Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Darrencourt?
Yes.
Ianieri?
Yes.
Farwell? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. Nacastro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes. Sullivan? Yes. 11 in the affirmative.
The order is adopted.
Hopes does not prevail.
Motion been made and seconded for reconsideration in hopes it does not prevail. All in favor of reconsideration? All opposed? Reconsideration fails. I need a motion also on a late file. I need a second. Mr. Clerk.
Communication for the Executive Director of the Parking Authority requesting a transfer of funds totaling $32,789. These transfers will be used to pay expenses incurred in snow removal from the city-owned and leased lots. We have communication for the mayor in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, recommending the City Council authorize a total appropriation of $32,789 from personal services other than overtime full-time, $14,600 personal services other than overtime, part-time $8,100, ordinary maintenance, building and grounds, $10,089, to snow removal, $32,789. We also have a communication from the CFO relative to the same. We have an appropriation of the total, strike that appropriation, of total appropriation of $32,789 from personal services other than overtime, full-time, $14,600, personal services other than overtime, part-time, $8,100, and ordinary maintenance, building and grounds, $10,089, to snow removal, $32,789.
To the Committee on Finance. We have another late file. I need, motion's been made by Councilor Cruz, seconded by Councilor Sullivan. Mr. Clerk, would you please read the order?
Resolved that Marietta Carty, Senior Associate of the Edward J. Collins Center for Public Management, the University of Massachusetts, Boston McCormick Graduate School of Policy and Global Studies, be invited to appear before a committee of the City Council to present the findings of a Human Resources Review.
Refer to the Committee on Finance. Councilors, just back on one item. Councilor Sullivan, why don't you go before me? Councilor Sullivan.
President, before we go into executive session, I want to have a moment of personal privilege, if I could.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Oh, you have
Oh,
something
you're
else?
just taking me out of order, but that's okay. Fine.
Oh, go ahead, you're the president. I've already been up there 3 times. Go ahead, go ahead.
I wanted to go back because we did adopt, the budget, which is going to be coming before us, and I had conversation with Mr. Condon just last week, and they look to hopes that the books will be ready and prepared for us to have probably by the middle of next week. I'll let you know that definitely when we have our finance meeting next Monday. Again, we hope to have them. He didn't see any reason why we wouldn't have them in time for at least May 24th, 25th, and we'd have them right until the time we have our public hearings, which would probably begin that week. Keep on your calendar, Monday the 4th, Tuesday the 5th, Wednesday the 6th, and Thursday tentatively the 7th. And those hearings we're going to have right here, so they'll be right here. But just, I'll give you all that information again next week, but just wanted you to know that, the budget is pretty much, it's in hand, so it's going through the process. At this point, Councilor Sullivan, I'll let you.
Just before I ask my moment of personal privilege, I just wanted to confirm with you, isn't it my understanding, I think you and I chatted about this, we're here tonight at War Memorial, and then the rest of the month we'll be back in the Rom Little Theater?
That's exactly right. The next 2 meetings will be back at the Ron Little Theater, May 21st for FinCom at 7, and May 29th, Tuesday, May 29th, Monday's a holiday, we'll be there for City Council. Then we'll be back here for our hearings on June 4, 5, 6, and 7 for the budget. Then don't forget we're in summer session, June, July, August, and we're going to be here. I've made that decision. I just think it's just a nicer look, more governmental. There's more room. That's my take. I know someone said there's no air conditioning. Well, the World War II vets met here many years ago. They didn't have air conditioning either. So I think we can get through it. You know what I mean? I just think it's a nicer venue. So that's what we're going to do. We'll stay here until we may have to hang the Christmas wreath around the clock. I'm not too sure, but
So with that, Mr. President, as chairman of the ordinance, I'm going to call an ordinance meeting. It's going to be held 6:15 next Wednesday, which is the 21st of May, 6:15 at the Rom Little Theater. I know at least 2 agenda items. I know Council Rodriguez has an item, Council Beauregard has an item, and I'd like to respectfully ask by tomorrow if you could give me any names of invited guests that you want to appear. But it will be, for those that sit on the ordinance committee, 6:15, a week from tonight, up at the Little Theater. Thank you.
so it'll be Monday, May 21st, 18 at 6:15.
That's right.
Okay, and would you just
And
keep...
Council Derrencourt has one as well from tonight, so that'll be on there.
I just want you to keep in mind that I know when I had discussion this afternoon with the mayor on a couple of items, he's asking me when you think you may begin to start talk about the whole situation with the marijuana and all of that, so...
Yeah, we have to talk to our legal counsel. It's on
Okay.
our radar. You can tell them that.
I told him that,
Yeah.
but I'm just relaying back the message, so don't shoot the messenger.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I have a phone number as well. He can always
know.
call me.
Who was, Councilor Azak?
Moment of personal privilege.
Yes.
I would just like to tell the members of the Accounts Committee that we have a meeting this Wednesday, May 16th, at 4 p.m. in the lower level basement of City Hall. Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Beauregard?
Personal privilege?
Yes, you
Okay.
may.
Thank you. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, Water Commission has announced that we are not in a drought. There's still plenty of water. Okay. May 22nd is the ward meeting for Ward 5. Tuesday, May 22nd, 6:30 p.m. at the Brockton Main Library. It's going to be an art-filled evening. The teachers have their exhibits in the Driscoll Gallery, and the students have their exhibits in the Lingos Auditorium. There's a whole lot of art going on. But again, invited guests, and this is a joint meeting with Representative Jerry Cassidy, because that is his district. And I also want to let people know that if you didn't go to 9 to 5, the musical, you missed out on just absolutely phenomenal, not that we're surprised, and remarkable talent. And some of us were fortunate enough to be with, again, some remarkable students on Thursday at the State House, where they made us extremely proud, and it was nice to see the Senate vote 38-0 in favor of more funding for education. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Lally?
Personal privilege?
Yes, you may.
I just wanted to wish, it's on Wednesday, but I did want to wish my youngest sister, Grace, a happy 15th birthday. So happy birthday, Grace.
See, very good. Happy birthday to her. Councilor Rodriguez, you have real estate tomorrow?
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
At City Hall.
At City Hall in the basement, right? Lower
And you're invited,
Yes,
Mr.
I am. Yes, thank you. I just want to make sure. Councilor Darrencourt.
Village. I would like to invite once again all Brockton, and of course my colleagues, to the Haitian Flag Day that will be on the 17th of this month, which is this coming up Thursday at City Hall from 9:30 to 12. All of you guys invited. We've been doing this in the city for a while now, and I would like to see some of my colleagues to be in attendance. And if you do plan to attend, please let me know so I can have them get some seats for you guys, so when you come, you don't have to stand up. Just give me a call and let me know whether or not you will be able to make it, although I would like to see you guys there. So thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Councilor. You said it was Friday.
I'm sorry?
Did I understand it was Friday?
No, Thursday.
Thursday, I'm sorry.
May 17th.
Okay, thank you. Any other business? Okay, at this particular time, we are going to go into an executive session because we have a complaint, and it's the complaint in open meeting let me start. Discussing a pending complaint in open meeting may be detrimental to the city council's position, and the motion requires a roll call vote. So, Councilor Cruz, I'm going to ask you at this point to make
Mr. President, I make a motion for the city council to move into executive session to discuss pending litigation. To do so may be detrimental in the public meeting.
And the motion was seconded, correct?
Yes.
Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Beauregard? Yes. Cruz? Yes. Danforth? Yes. Lear?
Yes.
Barlow? Yes. Lally? Yes. Monahan? Yes. Castro? Yes. Rodriguez? Yes. Sullivan? 10 in the affirmative.
10 in the affirmative, and it... Negative, I'm sorry, negative. Am I right? 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, okay. And at this particular time, the city council is not coming back out to public session. This is going to conclude this part of the city council meeting.